Hello, hopefully my mic is working. Viewers, please let me know in chat if that's the case. We're here once more Saturday morning for the AMS2 Community Cup Driver to Server Assignment live draw. It's round 5 that we're drawing for. SRGP's combo, I believe, Sim Racing GPs. An absolutely fantastic one, as you can see in the chat that's on the screen. The combo is Bathurst 2020 layout with the stock V8 2019. Absolutely beautiful car. Cheers, Nessie and Mugridge, for the mic confirmation. So yeah, absolutely cracking combo. We ran the shakedown about 4 days ago, and that showed that strategy is basically all over the place. You can try and make the fuel last and do one stop. Do you take hard tyres? Do you take soft tyres and look after them? Do you two stop? It's really up in the air. So really looking forward to it. And we've got the added complexity of when will 1.6 drop. We feel like it must be getting close now. There's a few hints come out of Riser that it might be getting close. So yeah, not 100% sure how we'll handle it if it drops before the event. I think the most likely outcome, just so people know if they happen to watch this video, is that if it drops on the day, then we will delay the race by a week. And we'll run it in the slot for the shakedown for round 6. That gives everybody a chance to test out the combo. Anybody who's literally coming straight home from work and turning the computer on to race won't be prevented from racing because the update doesn't apply in time. Because that update on Steam can be very slow, up to an hour to apply if you're running an old hard disk drive rather than a solid state disk. So yeah, I think that's what will happen. If it drops on the day, we'll delay by a week. And if as long as it doesn't drop on the day, then we're running it and everybody is in the same boat. But that'll all be confirmed on race night if it actually happens. Anyway, enough of my waffle. Let's get some intro stuff up there and then we'll get that live draw done. Here we go. Right, hopefully everything's still working. So we're going to do a quick recap like we did last time of the current team standings. We're at round 4, so we're halfway through. 4 to go, and we're doing the draw for round 5. AMSU very briefly, by 1 point, held the lead after round 3. But with the results of round 4, where AMSU, as you can see there, only scored 59 points. Okay, but certainly not as good as a lot of other teams. So, yeah, we've dropped down to 3rd with SSR, which racked up 77 points, and KCSR leapfrogging us. It was a great race also for MVRC. They managed to get 91 points. They hopped up to 4th place. And you can see the points on the left here. So 301 for KCSR, just 297. 4 points behind for SSR. AMSU now 10 points behind on 291, and then MVRC 15 points behind in 4th place. But given there are something like, I don't know what it is, but it's 100 and something odd points you can score in a single race for a maximum score, 235 for first place and a 31 for second. So if a team managed to score that, there's a lot of points available. So with just 15 points separating the top 4, it really is all to play for. Then there's a little bit of a gap, but not a massive one. Again, considering 100 odd points for a really good round for any team. We've got NRT in 5th, SRGP in 6th, 10T in 7th. RPM also, well, they're in 8th. They're actually on the same points, but I think 10T have a slightly better finishing order, hence why they claim the 7th at the moment. RRC in 9th, and 10th is Noob Gamers. So that's the current championship standings. And I like, just for fun, to show this table, which is lower down here, You can see in the yellow. This is if all drivers, rather than the top 3, but all 4 drivers that race counted. Now we only count the top 3 because that allows for tech issues and things like that, or people to not show without it massively affecting the championship scores. KCSR still up front. AMSU though a lot closer, just in second, 2 place behind. SSR in third, MVRC in fourth, and so on. It's always an interesting table that I like to show. Right, let's move on to the driver standings. Now, I don't know exactly how they were before. I'm afraid I can't remember. But we had a big change to the scores when round 4 completed about 10 days ago. And that was that we are dropping 2 of the races that drivers have attended. As we've only done 4 races, that essentially means right now 50% of the points, the worst 50% points, are dropped, are not counted, and that's why things are very, very close. So again, for Johnny here, Johnny's got a 35, he's got a win, so his best 2 are first there and second at Silverstone, so that's why he's on 66, 35 and 31, and his 15 and 26 are being ignored. JK, he's on the same score. He got a 35 and a 31, and he's also got a 26, just like Johnny got a 26. But JK hasn't attended one of the races because he wasn't available, so that's why Johnny gets the win at the moment, because he has the better 4th score. And so on and so on. So I can see Dan again is on the same score, 66 points, 35, 66, but he has a 20 with a P9 versus Johnny's and JK's P4 with a 26. So that's the current standings. So let's quickly go through the top 10. Johnny's out front, JK in second, and Dan in third. Fourth is Blank File, so we've got 2 KCSR and 2 MVRC in the top 4. Then we have Noodle for Nomad Racing Team in 5th place, Dustin for SSR in 6th, SRGP Alpha Signal in 7th. Now Alpha Signal's better half is expecting a child, so we're hoping Alpha can race on Wednesday, but we've got a special little adjustment that we're doing for Alpha so that we can cope for a last minute show or no show. We'll go through that shortly when we do the server draw. But Alpha doing very well in 7th, so we do hope that he can race. But all the best to his wife or partner with an expected newborn child. Myself in 8th place, Hawkig in 9th, and then rounding off to 10 is Statue. Statue, I think is an SSR driver. So that's the driver standings. And we've already wasted nearly 10 minutes, so I guess we should start to look at the drivers to server assignment. So before we quickly go through all the teams, just going to make some highlights. So we have 2 teams that have needed reserves or loaned drivers from other teams. So RPM here in red will have Ray Silla driving for them, scoring points for RPM. Ray Silla was a reserve for AMSU, but he's happy to drive for RPM. So that's highlighted there. SRGP unfortunately needed 2 drivers, so we're doing some special arrangement there. We obviously want a proper SRGP driver, which is either Andy or Ricky. We want one of those on each server. So if the draw puts them both on the same server, I am going to adjust it so we have one SRGP driver on each server. We also have Alpha Signal, which we've got down as reserve, but if Alpha shows up, then he's going to swap with G-Bear. So the other provision we're making is that Grandpa and Alpha will be assigned to the same server, so that a rapid swap in, if Alpha's able to make it, can happen. So that's a special adjustment for Alpha, given his particular situation with a newborn child on the way, which I think is fair enough. So yeah, that's about it. We've got a load of reserves on here as well, so they all get to go over here as independents. So it should be a really good grid. So, quickly go through the teams. So with 10T, Dazad's, Linus, Prue, Bluefin, Extreme. For MSU, we've got J-Turn, Loz, Erwin and Frano. KCSR, Blankfile, Tex, Glenn, Johnny. For MVRC, a couple of reserves there. Excuse me, just had to shut the mic whilst I coughed. Yeah, for MVRC, we've got JK, Jin, Pete, Minimus, Slayer, and Karazida. Unfortunately, Dan, who's doing very well in the championship, but he's had ping issues, and so he's stepping aside for this round until he can confirm that his ping issues and his lag issues are resolved. We're hoping that he can get that sorted. He's done some changes, and we'll be doing some testing in the next shakedown, I believe. So fingers crossed for Dan back in the championship shortly. And then for noobs, we've got Harm, Nice Guy Frim, Tony, Tim C, and reserves are Nonny and Tom Goodwrench. NRT, Noodle, Tinez, Nessie's in the chat, cheers Nessie, and Chris. RPM is Roy, Hawkick, Super Babuka, I love that name, and Ray Silla, as I say, AMS2CC driver, helping out with Team RPM. Real Racing Club, Sim Racing Italia, that's RRC. They've got Michelle Giamaroni, Riccardo Gasperi, Michelle Busata, and Mauro De Rocco. SRGP, Andy GH, Ricky Risotto, as I say, they will be on different servers. If the randomisation puts them on the same server, I will be adjusting that. Then from 10T, we've got Lag Slug, and then for from AMSU, we've got Grandpa Bear, and I say if Alpha Signal can make it, then Grandpa Bear will be dropping back to an independent. And finally, for SSR, we have Statue, Jerry, Randers, Dustin. They are the scoring drivers, and Cafalor will be an independent. So lots of reserves, lots of independents. Should be lovely big grids. Right, enough of that constant gym talking. Must be fed up of it by now. Here we go. Let's tick the checkbox that controls them all and see what the randomisation does. Oh, there was a bit of a delay there, and I was worried that it wasn't going to work. I don't know why we had the delay, but we didn't. So first of all, I just want to check. Look, we can see here that Andy GH and Ricky Risotto are on the same server, so I'm going to adjust that straight away before we go through them. So bear with me one moment. And we also need to have Alpha Signal, who is assigned to server 2, on the same server as Grandpa Bear. So let's get that sorted as well. So say manual adjustments for particular unique circumstances that we've got there for SRGP and Alpha Signal. So let's just double check. So we've got the hosts. So I'm on server 1. Roy's on server 2. Got the two SRGP proper drivers, shall we say, Andy and Ricky on different servers. Got Lag Slug supporting SRGP on server 1, and Grandpa Bear, who will step back if Alpha Signal can make it, and then Alpha Signal will score. Right, so server 1 then, let's have a look. 24 drivers. For 10T, Prue and Blue for AMSU, J-Turn and Airwin. For KCSR, Blankfowl and Glenn. For MVRC, you've got JK and Jin. NBZ have Nice Guy Frim and Tim C. Nomad Racing Team, Tinez and Chris H. RPM, Hawkick and Super Babuka. RRC is the two Michelles, Giamaroni and Busata. Then we've got SRGP, as we've already said, Andy GH and Lag Slug standing in for SRGP. SSR, I've got Jerry and Dustin. Reserves, 10T's Reserve, Extreme, Slayer for MVRC, Nonny for NBZ, and Cafalor for SSR. Okay, let's move on then to server 2. So server 2 is Zads and Linus for 10T, Loz and Fano for AMSU, Tex and Johnny for KCSR, Pete M, Minimus for MVRC, Harm and Tony for NBZ, and Noodle and Nessie on for server 2 for Nomad Racing Team. We've got Roy, the host for RPM, and Ray Silla helping out RPM on server 2 as well. Riccardo and Mauro for RRC. SRGP's got Ricky, and then either Grandpa Bear or Alpha Signal, if Alpha Signal can make it. And then SSR have got Statue and Randers. Reserves then, as I say, Alpha Signal will be reserve, as I say, to allow for the fact he may not make it. Karazida and Tom Goodrich. Right, that pretty much covers everything. Thank you very much, guys. Kind of looking forward to 1.6 dropping. I'm crossing my fingers it happens not on the day, because that would just make things so much simpler for everybody. Just after would be fine. On the Tuesday would be okay. A little bit last minute, but certainly a lot better than it dropping at some point on Wednesday. But it is what it is. We're all looking forward to having it. If it causes us a bit of inconvenience, then so be it. Right, that's the end of the stream. I'll get all the info posted up shortly. Takes about half an hour. Then the registration on the servers will be available, and I know Loz is working hard on getting that skin pack out there, so you'll be able to download that as well shortly, I'm sure. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Nessie. Cheers, Mugridge, who have said hello in the chat. There's a few people watching. 5 million viewers. Thank you all for watching. It's a bit of a dull stream, but it just allows me to show that it's definitely all random, apart from the little bit of tweaking we've done for sRGP. Alright, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all on track on Wednesday evening. Good afternoon, rather. Good day. Goodbye. One of those. Bye-bye.